Okay, today we're going to talk about how to monetize content marketing. And really, this came from a question that a friend of mine had posted on Facebook. And he asked this question: what's the number one thing holding you back from creating the content you'd like to share with the world? This obviously quickly piqued my interest because this is what we do here on the Second Opinion Loan Officer podcast. We talk about content marketing. Now, the answers were pretty typical and they were all over the place. Of course, you had people in there joking and things like that, and it was pretty hilarious. But really, what came out of it was the same types of things that people usually say. I'm shy on camera. I don't know what to say. The time investing in it, just doing it and publishing it, it takes too much time to learn how to do it. I don't know how to start. And a lot of people are worried about the quality of the video production. But what really struck me, and the one that resonated with me the most, is one person said monetizing it. Otherwise, it's a waste of time and effort. That's an interesting approach to it. But my answer was this: content marketing is a matter of perspective. Content is just a documented conversation, and we create content every single day in our business. Every time we talk about the market, talk to a client, or have a conversation with a referral partner about how to grow our business, content is being created. It's just that we don't always do it with purpose or document it so that others may benefit from our years of experience and expertise. Conversations take place on our timeline. Content helps others on their timeline. And I think that's the single most important part of this. It's not that we don't know what to say, because we've been in the business forever. We have these conversations every single day for hours a day. We're creating content that others could benefit for. But because we're only delivering that content in a conversation, it only benefits the people that are around when we're having that conversation at the time that we're having the conversation. So it's a simple shift in perspective, and it's a simple shift in mindset. When you document that content, and listen, I know people don't like the way that they look, and they don't like the way that they sound. Look at the way that I look and look at the way that I sound. Like, we're not Brad Pitt here delivering an Oscar performance. I'm just a regular person. Now, my production value is just what it is. It's what I got comfortable with after years and years of practice. But the reality is that it's a short-term effort that you have to get into the habit of doing, but the long-term benefit is immense. And let me blow this up if you're watching this so that you can see this a little bit better. This is a 30-day snapshot of the last 30 days on my website. And the way that I look at content is every time somebody reads a piece of my content or watches one of my videos, it's me having a conversation with them without having to be there. So I had over 21,000 conversations, no, 21,000 people, almost 22,000 people, and I had almost 25,000 conversations about qualifying for a mortgage in the last 30 days. Now, this is a screenshot of the top 10 topics or top 10 articles on my website. And so what I'm also seeing here, because I'm creating content, I'm seeing I have my finger on the pulse of what consumers are interested in. And what they're interested in on my website is we've got almost 3,000 visitors looking at multifamily properties, house hacking, owner-occupied properties. I've been harping on this for a while. This is a big deal in this economy. When interest rates go up, homeowners or home buyers are looking for ways to save money. So if you can buy owner-occupied units and rent out the other side, you're essentially reducing your interest rate because you're reducing your payment. This is also really popular with millennials. People are concerned about closing costs, down payment. People are looking for grants. So there's your first time homebuyer demographic, your millennial demographic. We had almost 1,000 people were approved by a lender and then they got denied when they were in underwriting. And guess what that is? Those are call centers. Those are call centers that the kid in the call center has been in the business for 6 months. He's reading off a computer screen. He's saying yes, and then an underwriter looks at it. In my experience, and this is the reason why I push being a second opinion loan officer so hard, is because those consumers are going back online with a little bit more information looking for a second opinion. It's not that they don't qualify, it's that the kid in the call center knew less than they did about qualifying for a mortgage. Then we have some credit issues. What about collections, student loans, and gift funds for closing costs? You have these conversations every single day with people. Now, what the secret to monetizing content is called a hub and spokes marketing strategy. And I'm going to explain why that is. So, a hub and spokes is essentially that you have a hub where your content lives, and then the spokes are all the places that you promote that content. And there's a reason why we do it this way. There's a reason why everybody's heard of HubSpot. HubSpot was invented around the hub and spoke strategy. Their logo is even a little hub and spoke strategy. And the way that works is you have all of your content in one place. So what is a hub? From in my case, my hub is my website. It's a blog. If your hub could also be, if you don't have a blog and you don't have a website, articles in LinkedIn could be a hub. It's not as good of a hub. And Google My Business is a hub. So what makes a hub? So a hub is typically someplace that is going to hold your long form content, your more information, your learn more. It's also the place where you can control the user experience. So on my website, I don't have a bunch of distractions. The only thing that I have on there is details about all of the possible answers to their questions. Because again, and I've said this a bunch of times, I'm going to say it again. There are not 10,000 questions about qualifying for a mortgage. There are 10 questions asked 10,000 ways. And you've heard every single one of those ways that those questions are being asked. So I'm answering those questions in as many ways as they can be asked. That gets a little bit more complex. That's a long tail SEO strategy where you're basically rephrasing the question in every way that the question can be asked. And that's why you're coming up in Google searches, because you have the experience. It's not some overseas content writer that's just writing a 10,000 foot view of a topic. It's you and I with maybe decades of experience doing loans, addressing these issues on the granular level and really responding to almost every way somebody can ask a question. Now, the only distractions on my hub, on my website, or on my central place where my long form content is, you can email me, you can call or text me, you can schedule a spot on my calendar, or you can fill out this contact form. I also have the ability to say, what's the next step in the journey? If this topic interests you, you may also be interested in this topic over here. So I can make suggestions and I can keep them engaged, because the longer I keep them engaged, I can earn their trust. And if they are reading my content and they're spending time on my content and I earn their trust, I have an opportunity to earn their business almost every single time. So that's what the hub does. Now, what is a spoke? Actually, my next episode coming out, I'm having a conversation with a really brilliant person who specializes in creating spokes. And your spokes are typically your short form. Those are your TikTok videos, your Instagram, your Facebook posts, your LinkedIn posts, maybe. It could be Google My Business if you're driving them back to your blog. It could be paid marketing. It could be email marketing to your database. These are all spokes that drive traffic back to your hub. Now, you typically don't control the user experience. If you've ever geeked out on like the neurological research that goes into a user interface on a social media platform, those are designed to lead you down a rabbit hole and just suck away your day and suck away your attention. And it's intentionally designed to distract the consumer. Engagement is a comment or a direct message, and maybe they can do that, but then that's not going, there's no automation there. It's a completely manual process. And first of all, anybody can comment. It doesn't take any effort. The barrier to entry to leaving a snide remark or a snarky remark or even a negative remark to your content is very low. And trolls can go in there and they can get it, but it's a very manual process. Your best case scenario is you engage with them and then you're trying to drive them to your calendar, your email, a form, something like that. But on a short form, on a spoke, you're always trying to drive them from the spoke to your hub to learn more. But really, we don't really want them to just learn more. We want to control the customer experience. We want to control the user experience, and we want to surround them with an opportunity to reach out to us and, quite frankly, get them into our CRM, our Bonzo, our database, that we're going to automatically send them a text message, a ringless voicemail, an email. Hey, when can I get a hold of you? Here's my calendar link. Let's schedule a time to speak. So now I get the time thing. I get that I don't know what to talk about. I understand all of that. But you guys, if you've been paying attention to my channel here, I'm telling you, these AI tools, AI assisted content marketing has completely changed this game. It is so much easier than it's ever been before. You don't have to be a good writer. You just have to know what you're talking about. You feed ChatGPT the guidelines, or you feed them the important points and the important points of the conversation. You don't have to understand, you don't have to be great at grammar, you don't have to be great at writing. You just have to be great at what you do. You have to be an expert at what you do. If you're a guideline geek like me, it works even better, because you know all of the parameters of, you got to watch out for this works best, you can't do this, beware of this, make sure you're doing this to improve your whatever, your credit score, your DTI, whatever you're doing. You just put in the facts, and AI can help you write long form content. Then when you have your long form content, you can take that long form content and you can tell AI, create social media posts for me, create an Instagram post, write a video script for me, or just, and I'm not a huge fan of scripts. As you can tell, this obviously isn't scripted. But bullet points are great just to keep you on track. These slides keep me on track. I don't always stay perfectly on track, but they keep me on track. These are my bullet points. Once you create a video, if you do a short form video, you can take that transcript and ask AI to convert that into an article, into a long form hub based article that you can then drive traffic to. And one of the coolest things you can do with AI is you can literally take an article that's timely news, that's in the news right now. You can copy that article, paste it into AI, and repurpose it. One of the things that I do quite commonly is I'll take an article, I'll put it into ChatGPT, and I'll say, summarize this with me in bullet point format. And then I'll take the bullet points and I'll say, okay, now I want you to write a piece of content about these 5 bullet points, ignore the other bullet points because I think they made a bad point, or something like that. And even tell it, listen, I don't agree with this article, and here's the reason why. And then you tell ChatGPT how to do that. So you're getting the topic, it's timely and relevant, and it's doing most of the work for you. You just have to know how to tell it what you want it to do. Listen, this is a tough market, and I get it. But when I started doing content marketing, it was in 2008. That was a tough market too. It was a tough market for several years, but I stuck with it and I wrote and I created content and I learned all of this stuff. And that's why I'm telling you that if you put in the time and the effort now, it's going to pay off. It's definitely going to pay off for you in the short term. You talk about monetizing it. Monetizing requires a couple of different things. First of all, it requires you having conversations with people that have questions about qualifying for a mortgage, right? That's the first step to monetizing anything. The second step of monetizing is it has to be the right time and the right place. They have to qualify. Now, those opportunities are fewer and further between in a high rate, low inventory environment that we're in, but you can still be out there building trust. You can still be out there getting known as somebody who has an opinion or has answers or has expertise. This isn't your first rodeo. You can trust me on this. Listen, there are tens of thousands of consumers asking questions every single day online. If there wasn't, you wouldn't have Bankrate and LendingTree and Quicken and Rocket. These companies wouldn't exist. They're out there spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year to capture that traffic. And guess what? Most of the time, they're giving bad advice. They're kids in call centers reading a computer screen and they don't know underwriting guidelines. They don't have hundreds or thousands of loans and scenarios under their belt that they can reference and that they can speak to. So the consumer's options are literally limited to the effort and the experience of a call center lender. And that's why it's so important that you create content. If you create content and you have the right perspective, remember, content is just the conversations that you have every day, but conversations are for your benefit in the moment. And content is for the benefit of people in the future that may have that question. I get it. Content marketing is not for everyone, but I'm telling you, there's a formula, there's a science to it, there's a strategy to it. And the monetization 100% will happen if you stick to it. When that monetization is going to happen, that's the sticky part. And that's the part where most people aren't going to put in the effort. They're not going to have the patience. They're not going to have the vision. They're not going to understand the strategy. But that's why it's so effective, because most of your competition will not do it. Now, we think, oh, there's all these influencers out there. It's a noisy place. No, it's not. That's like a quarter of a percent or less than that. That's a fraction of a percent. The reason why you think that they're out there covering everything is because they're creating content, but they represent such a small fraction of your competition. And it's a big internet out there, you guys. It's a huge internet. And there's so many people out there. The pie is so big and it just takes time and effort. And that's why most people aren't going to do this, because they're not going to put in the time. They're not going to put in the effort. I absolutely promise you this pays off. Please reach out to me if you have any questions about this. I've been doing this for a very long time. I know a lot of people that are doing this and being successful, and my business is actually helping people do this. But if you're not a fit for what I do, I help people create long form content. I know a lot of great people that can help in all areas of content creation. Mike Farisi is in my next episode. He's an expert at creating spokes, at creating short form content, short form video content. So I'm telling you, just do this. Just get out there, just do it, and it will pay off. I can't guarantee when it will pay off, but I promise you, you build an audience that knows, likes, and trusts you now. And when rates drop, when inventory picks up, because it inevitably will, you are going to be flooded with so much business and you're going to reap so many rewards from the fruits of your labors that you're going to come back and thank me. And I look forward to that day. So I hope this was helpful. And again, if you have any questions, all my contact information is in the description below. Now go out there, create some content, and be a second opinion loan officer. Talk to you soon.